Why do I need a buyer persona to market?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, let me kind of talk about what you probably shouldn't do, and let me do that. I'm gonna actually share my screen in just 1 second here.
Okay.
In that process of like how to work on your message and stuff like that, what we talk about is the idea of it's kind of like the idea of trying to understand where do people gravitate and what messages do we gravitate towards. And so what we'll be doing when we develop buyer personas is we're trying to figure out who are the people specifically that might be buying your products and services. And so what I'm going to be able to do is we develop these buyer persona exercises. And in those exercises, we're going to identify who are these ideal patient personas or who are these ideal buyer personas. And then we put it into a grid and then we see how does it change from one buyer persona, from one buyer persona to the next buyer persona and to the next buyer persona. Because what I don't want to do is be in a scenario here, like let's pretend like I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I don't want to have people that have an ACL tear and then they come to my website and I start drip marketing to them about our spine center. The reality is that that's how you market to like an unsegmented market. That's usually very ineffective. Mm-hmm. We see that all the time. They have one big list and they just do one message to all, that entire list. But open rates dramatically increase when you go and you segment your list into different buyer personas. So that same individual who might have a torn ACL is going to be in a scenario where they go and they're going to start to get drip marketing about knee pain. And what I've done there is I've sort of gotten the right message to the right client at the right time. And what happens is that usually that skyrockets, like that improves open rates, conversion rates, you name it. When you hyper personalize, you get dramatically different results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think that this is a universal thing. I love the example of the healthcare because those services are so segmented. But I think that it applies to every industry, even just understanding who your client is, the language that they speak, where they spend their time. Those are huge factors that play into how you're going to market to them.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's funny because I tell this story about Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield was, I think you've heard of the idea of the chicken soup for the soul guy. Mm-hmm. He wrote this best-selling book. It's actually really hard. He had a really hard time producing his first book. But rather than trying to be like lightning in a bottle and try to do it all over again, he realized the power of buyer personas. What he did was he started writing these short stories in each different category, each different buyer persona. And the joke I say in the sales process is, you know what, like, are you going to read the chicken soup for the fireman's soul? Like, well, probably not if you're not a fireman. Mm-hmm. The same reason why I would read chicken soup for the soccer player's soul, because I played soccer in high school and dabbled with it in college.
Yeah, which one am I?
Yeah. So
I'm a woman.
That's right. You know what I mean? And so what happens here is that if you create content, but you hyper personalize it, you're going to see considerably greater adoption rates. But what it does do is it also allows the potential client to know that, you know what, these people know they have empathy for where I'm at, what my struggles are, what my challenges are. So when you write content in that way, it works 9 out of 10 times.
It's the connection. It's the human connection and feeling heard. I think for a lot of clients, it's like most of our clients are the helpers. Like they want to be of service. But it's also like communicating to their potential clients that we hear you and understand, and we want to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Empathy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in that process, what we also do, and I'm going to have you unpack this a little bit more, is that there was a book called Building a Story Brand. The author's name's escaping me, but he talked about how to turn this messaging so that you have a hero of your story and that you have this entire buyer's journey. And so we took that concept and we modified it. We call it story guide. And, you know, when we have buyer personas and we do those exercises, we also take it one step further.